So this course, what we're going to do this time around is rather than do another how to make a track like this tutorial, what I'm going to do is I put out a little post the other day, obviously, for some of you that read it, on what should we do next and what things would help you in that. And one came back saying, let's go through the built-in tools in Ableton and let's work through them. And then at the end of it, create a track around that, which I thought was a really good idea. So I'm going to do that. And what we're going to do is I'm going to go through the main instrument racks and the main sort of plugins and stuff for each session. And then we're going to develop something out of each of the plugins and then bring it all together. So it kind of gives you the tools to go to not have to use plugins and presets all the time. You know, sometimes it's nice to create your own thing and then you can tweak and twist it how you want. So this week, what we're going to do is we're going to create a funk bass, disco funk synth bass, should I say, using the analog preset, the analog built-in plugin. And we're going to get a flat preset in there, which is basically an initial program, a flat tone, and then we're going to tweak that and change it to make it a funk disco bass. And it's good to do that because, you know, you can then call it your own. You've made that, you've tweaked it, you've changed it, rather than rely on a preset. So here goes. Right, so this session then, we're going to get a template up, and obviously I'm not going to create a track right now. I'm just going to show you how to do this, and then you can go off and do that yourself, and I'll show you how we can kind of automate it and stuff like that. So the analog, if we go over to instruments, analog, grab that and plug that into a MIDI channel. Okay, and we should be left with an automatic flat tone, like so. Now in here, there's obviously, you can see in the interface, there's loads of stuff. But what we've got to do is really simple. And all we have to do with this is keep it on a low pass 24 dB. Take the frequency down to around about 100 for now. Turn the res up to around about 30. Let's have a look. Let's go a bit higher. Let's go to 40. And let's take the frequency back up. Let's go back a bit more. And then drop the octaves. Just got to get that roundness. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back down with the frequency, up with the res to about 50. There we go, 46, 47. So what we've got there is that, but what we're going to do is we're going to take some of the envelope off. So you go to this little bit here, look, the 3 circles of the 3 zeros. And let's pull that up, turn it up a bit. Bring it in, putting on some res. So we want to make it a little bit more squelchy. So again, it's about tweaking it. It's been a while since I've actually done this precisely. So I'm going to take the res back to about 35. Frequency down to about 120. And the envelope down to about 150. That's about right. Now what we need to do, see, I mean, it's got that instant funk to it. So then what we want to do is we want to put some vibrato on it so that we can, you know, bend the sound and tweak it as we wish. So what we need to do is we need to go over to this section here where it says vibrato, obviously VIB. And I'm going to click that like so. So we've turned it on now, so that's on and off. Obviously go down like so. So we want to make sure that it's on. But what we want to do is we want to make sure that the rate is connected to a MIDI. So if you haven't got a MIDI keyboard, you can draw this in manually. But I'm going to show you how to do this on the MIDI keyboard so we create that bend sound. So just click on MIDI over here and it lights up blue. And then select the rate box there, click that and just move your wheel, your modulation wheel, like so. Click the blue MIDI button again and that should now bend the sound of the vibrato when we move the wheel. Can you hear it? So we've got that. So we've created that. Obviously, again, this is all about how you want it to sound in your track. So you're going to have some context to it. So I've just tweaked the resonance again. So I want it to be around about 30 and 86. After some tweaking, we're going to come to that point there. So let's have a look at the... We're going to turn the sustain down a bit to about 0.37, as you can see here. Look, just a bit like that, around about there. 30 mark. It doesn't sound much on its own, but when I put it into context in a minute, you'll see. So we've now done that. So therefore, when we, if you look at the vibrato speed, which is this one, the rate, sorry, my bad, rate. So when you, is it on there? Let's have a look. It might be that one actually. Anyway, speed. Let's have a look. When I'm in the wheel, yeah, the red line moves up now. Look. So that is how we create that classic 70s funk synth bass. Now let's put it into some context, and I'll make a little track. Let me just get some sort of drums up in here so we can see. So I'm going to put some beats in here. I'm just going to loop this across. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on some reverb as well. Just a touch of reverb at about 10 o'clock for the bass. Probably about 1/4 past. So about 1/4 to 9 o'clock. That's a really cool bass line, that is. So I'm going to put a little beat on, and then I'm going to also stick a kick in there as well. So we've got some kicks. Let's just get this a kick in there. Right, so we've got a little groove here, look. So that's pretty cool. Get some claps in there. Let me get the... So put the bass in. Let's do a bass line in G minor 7. So we're going to get this. Right, so I've done a little simple pattern there. And as you can see, the modulation is picked up, but because it's turned off, it ain't on. So what we do is we go to analog and we click on vibrato on. And at that point, we just turn it on, bring it across. So let's bring this back to here, go into it, and I'm going to automate, and I'm going to quantize. Yeah, it's got that wobble now. It's a little bit of, kind of, a little bit fiddly sometimes, but it's you've created it all. You've done all the hard work. And that's kind of one of the bonuses of it. So what we'll do on top of that, to give you some more context, let's get a Rhodes in there. Let's get electric. Let's get synth, piano keys. Get a basic Rhodes, and then this will give you even more context. Just the feel of it will be. That's how we're going to build a track around using these sounds that we've created. So let's just have a quick recap of that. We've got an analog synth. We've put in the frequency and the resonance. My frequency is 86 and the res is at 31. So around about there works. Bring down your sustain to around about 30. Make sure your envelope is around about 150, 145. Around that mark. And you've just created that instant, classic funk bass. And you can then add to that, by obviously the vibrato. We've done the vibrato and we've automated that. And what you could do is you could add to that by having some sort of, sort of a phaser on it, perhaps. A phase would be really nice to go on top of it. So you could have a really driving phaser. Turn the dry wet down. How cool is that? It's almost like a talk box now. Nice smooth chords. And that's it. So that's how you do that. That's going to be part one of what we're doing. So we've got the analog synth funk bass created. Tweak it, do what you can with it, and just experiment with the different dials on there. If you have a look at, what I've done, it took me a while to get the frequency and the reso right on it, because it's how it feels for you. It's got to have that squelch, and it's got to have the bit of deepness as well. So it's all about, if I can just get it back up, it goes. Now with that phase on, it's got a real sort of, it's got an attitude now, so it sounds really cool. So that is it for this session. I hope you've got that. go ahead and experiment with the analog synth and try and create your own synth bass and put a phaser on it, put a flanger on it, do whatever it is you want to do with it. And then next week, I'm going to keep this template, and then next week I'll do another instrument or an audio effects rack tutorial, and we'll build upon this. So that's it for this session, guys. I hope you've taken from that, and I'll see you in the next session. Thank you and goodbye.